there. I'd like to take a moment and go over our next assignment, essay number 2. We have 3 options to choose from, and at the bottom here you'll see the criteria I'm using to grade the assignment. So this is the same criteria that I used to grade essay 1. I'm looking at your argument, how well you answer the question. I'm looking at your use of examples, meaning references to our class reading. I'm looking at your organization, how well you divide the essay into introduction, body, conclusion paragraphs. And I'm looking at the mechanics, meaning how good your grammar is and how the text conforms to standard English. Now, out of these 3 options, I'm going to go one by one and provide a small outline to follow for each question. So, option number 1. Compare the love poetry we have read so far this semester to our reading from Petrarch. Consider Sappho, ancient Egyptian poetry, and classical Indian poetry. What qualities do all of the poems have in common? Also consider what is different in these poems. Can we attribute these differences to the cultures the poems come from? Construct a definition of love poetry using these poems as examples. So this question asks you to focus on a particular genre of writing, and that is love poetry. Think of what goes into a love poem, what a love poem has to have. And we want to apply that to Petrarch in addition to the other poems that we've already discussed this semester. So this is the organization that I would use. In the introduction paragraph, you want to basically describe what a love poem is. And then your thesis would be your definition of a love poem. In order for something to be a love poem, it must have this. And then, in separate body paragraphs, I would organize the information this way. You first definitely want to deal with Petrarch. He is our most recent reading, and so in poem 333, how is that a love poem? Then, think of our other poets. From classical India, we have Bhavaka Devi and Vidya, who were both writing about relationships. So how did they compare with Petrarch? How are they love poems, and are they similar or different from Petrarch? And then, in the last one, you want to consider Sappho and the ancient Egyptian poetry. What are some of the differences you see between those poems and Petrarch? And again, what are their similarities? And then remember, you always want a conclusion paragraph. It doesn't have to be a very long paragraph, but you still want to take the time to conclude your essay by summing up your main ideas and then leaving the reader with some interesting perspective. So here, maybe we could think about why love poetry should be something we study in world literature. What can we learn about other people by reading their love poetry? And so remember, for each essay you want a total of 750 words. Approximately. I'm not counting the words, but you want it to be apparently about that length. And then here's question number 2. What is Miguel de Cervantes parodying through the ridiculous figure of Don Quixote? Comment on the change that this obsessed man wrought on himself, and the kind of speeches he makes or misadventures he rushes into. What is the underlying message of this satire? Focus only on the chapters that we read for this course and use specific examples from the story, like his speeches or misadventures, to support your points. Now, for this question, you want to only focus on the chapters we read for this class, so chapters 1, 2, 7, 8, and 9. And this question asks you to make a statement about what Cervantes is mocking through this character of Don Quixote. And so I would organize the essay this way. in the introduction, I provide some background on the novel and the author. Who is Miguel de Cervantes? When did he live? Where did he live? Also, what is this novel about? We only are discussing the very beginning of the novel. What's it about? And then your thesis. The thesis statement should be at the end of the introduction, and it should focus on what Don Quixote as a character is making fun of. He's imitating those old chivalric romances, and so Cervantes could be making fun of those types of readings, that they're silly, that they're unrealistic, that they're predictable. We can also say Don Quixote, the figure of Don Quixote, mocks those who can't tell the difference between fiction and reality. I think you could make either thesis and prove it with evidence from the text. So in any case, whatever you think Don Quixote is mocking, that is your thesis statement. And then in the body of your essay, you want to focus on the specific episodes that we witnessed. First, look at the changes the old man wrought on himself. So how did he become Don Quixote? Don Quixote is the name he took on to imitate some of the knights that he read about. So think of the other things he does to imitate these knights. He dresses up, he gets his horse, he gives his horse a name, Rocinante. He adopts a lady to be his lady love, Dulcinea. And then look at the misadventures he goes on. In what way is he trying to imitate these silly stories when he encounters those windmills? Think also about the way he talks about these adventures. Don Quixote uses very flowery language because he's imitating those books. And so he says to Sancho Panza, I'm going to engage them in fierce unequal combat, right before he attacks the windmill. The way he talks about these, quote unquote adventures is also a significant part of this mockery. And then think about the episode of The Lady and the Friars, right? These people he encountered on the road, he imagines that it's a princess being abducted by sorcerers. And really, it's just people trying to travel down the road. So what do we see that he is mocking in that episode? And then for the conclusion, if you choose this option, think about satire. How satire is when a writer uses humor and mockery to make a point. So what do you think is the point Cervantes is trying to make here? And then there's another option. If you choose, you can go for Christine de Pizan in option number 3. So here's this question. Comment on the significance of Christine de Pizan's achievement in the Book of the City of the Ladies. Why is it considered such a monumental feat today? Describe her use of allegory and how she is trying to change the way women are represented in literature. Use specific references to the sections we read in this course to support your points. So for this one, in the introduction, you want to provide a little background on Christine de Pizan, just like we did with Don Quixote. So here, provide some background on Christine de Pizan. Describe what her book is about. What is the Book of the City of Ladies? And then your thesis statement in the end of your introduction paragraph. Your thesis should be something along the lines of, what does she do with her Book of the City of Ladies? What is her project? What is she trying to achieve? One way I think of it is that she constructs a space where women are protected and respected. You can word that in another way, but your thesis should be something along the lines of what her project is with this book. And then think about how she achieves that project. She uses the figures of the ladies. Remember the 3 ladies that appear to her. You want to discuss that in the body of your essay. Remember, we have conversations with Lady Reason, so in what way is this lady an exemplary kind of woman? She's a wise and thoughtful woman, this Lady Reason. Think about how that plays into Christine de Pizan's project. And then in another body paragraph, think about this whole allegory of building a city. We know she's not literally building a city and putting, bricks together to build a wall. No, she's doing it metaphorically. She's building a symbolic city. So what does that mean when she makes these references to using her trowel as her pen to build this city? And then you could also include a body paragraph about the exemplary women that she talks about. We, again, did not read all of the Book of the City of Ladies. We read just a section. There are many more examples of heroic women in this book. The one that we read was Queen Semiramis. How does Queen Semiramis break the stereotype that Christine de Pizan is trying to destroy here? And then in your conclusion paragraph, think about de Pizan's goal in writing this book, and you could think about whether it's feminist or not. In what way is this like a feminist book? So, 3 options to choose from. I look forward to reading what you have to say about what we've read so far. Another small side note, remember, do not use any ChatGPT or AI interface to write this essay. I am interested in what you think about what you read in this course. So, no ChatGPT, and I'm not interested in what you can copy off the internet. You can find things on the internet about all of these writers. I want to know what you think about what we read in this class. I'm not interested in what the internet has to say about Cervantes or Christine de Pizan. Okay? So, this is a chance for you to really get your ideas out there and develop them into a beautiful essay, and I look forward to reading it.